Well, we met back when you were a university student, and we were both younger. And I went up to visit at St. X because someone in the XCF group invited me to come up to do something. And then I started coming up from Fredericton, where I still live, and I lived at the time. So yeah, we're university contacts from university ministry. I went up to St. X to do kind of a little bit what I done here at UNB, to figure out the right, figure out ways to share the gospel and have the gospel move through the community of students. One thing about UNB that was that's it's not, but it's a larger university than X was, is we've got lots of internationals and lots of grad students because we have large grad programs, and so because of that, we've met internationals over the years, which are people from other religions, other faith backgrounds, as well as other cultures. We've got a lot of Muslims here, a lot of Hindus, and then of course Latinos and so on. Simple things like a gospel tract. If you think of a gospel tract, that Jesus died for our sins and we need to receive him. It's a free gift and with a little prayer. All the way down to did Jesus rise from the dead, kind of an analysis, uh, to some Old Testament prophecies of Jesus. And the reason you do that is because, like, as I tell them, I mean, who knows the future, right? And if no one can predict the future, no human, but if the Old Testament can predict Jesus, that's a sign that there's a divine mind. That's the way I say it, a divine mind planning all this. And so there's evidence there is a so that, and then the textual reliability of the Bible, it hasn't changed through time, things like that. So we basically taken that material and put it on websites and beam it around the world. We get the websites translated in different languages, and we try to send the content contextualized to the appropriately to the people where we're sending it to. So we're beaming into North Africa, into different places in Europe and Asia, Latin America, and even here in Canada. And actually, I don't know if we can do this, but maybe I can share my screen, actually, can I? And then I can show you some things. We can try that. And share screen starts. All right, here we go. So this is a Romanian website. It's a picture of Rome. It's beautiful there. And it's Romans 6:23. For the wages of sin is death, and just a picture of God on one side and people on the other, separated by this pacat, which is sin in Romanian. And we try to have religious merit. Try to do religious things. Romanians are religious. They're Roman. They're not Roman Catholic. They're Orthodox. And so in Orthodox, they learn about God and they try to do the things they're supposed to do to get over to heaven, right? And so, but no, Jesus came and he cancels our sin because his death on the cross does that for us. And so we can cross over by receiving, and if we trust him, and then it ends with a little prayer. So, I'm having, that'll be viewed several thousand times. Well, we're seeing about 9,000. We got like 11 different websites on the go, and we're seeing about 9,000 every day on them. Add them all up, about 9,000 views, which would be about 7,000, 7,500 different people. Of course, I read more than one article, but we're getting about 9,000 articles read. The biggest, our biggest draw, if I can put it that way, is Muslims in the Arabic language. So it's going like a hot knife through butter in Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, those places, and then North Africa as well. This would be the stats. I'm going to move you right up here for my French Muslim. So this would be like in the month of January, we had 32,000 views for 22,000 visitors. So, where are they coming from? Well, you'll see here, like, or can you see? Morocco, 9,000, Algeria, France, Tunisia, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Mali. So that's the French one, but then we have I said the big one was the Muslim one or the Arabic one. So this would be the same content, uh, but now it's so we had 48,000 views in the month of January for the Arabic one, 35,000 people. So we had 3,000 views from Saudi Arabia. I mean, uh, you and I, or no one in your church can go to Saudi Arabia and stand on the street corner and pass out Bible tracts. We'd get our heads chopped off or arrested, and probably arrested would be the police showing mercy on us before someone chopped their head off. But we're able to do it. That's like 10 a day, right? Or 100 a day. Sorry. Yeah, so like, how do people land on here? Well, basically, I'll just show you here briefly the way it works. This is my Romanian one. So here is, so just think about people in Romania. So people in Romania are typing in, and all these words, I know what these words mean. This is the Romanian word for God. This is the Romanian word for evangel. And then the love of God comes way down here. And then when they type those words in their Google search bar, does God love me, love of God, evangel, this ad in Romanian appears. Does God love me? How does God show his love to me? I know I can't read Romanian, but I know what the ad says because I've worked on it. So let's see now, in the month, in the last 7 days, this has shown 500 times. So we've given out a gospel tract 500 times, basically. So the way it works is that because the churches are non-profit, Google will support free advertising for $10,000 a month, U.S. This is 15,000 Canadian dollars a month. Well, I got 11 of these accounts. Like, they're not mine. I'm managing them, you might say, on behalf of the various churches. Most of the churches are Convention Baptist churches here in New Brunswick, mostly around the Fredericton area. So in December, I spent over 100,000 US dollars, and then in January I spent over 100,000 US dollars. Like, I don't see that in a year, but it's running through the Google system. So that we are, and I'll expect to spend the same in February. One thing I've learned is that people are really typing in their Google search bar, does God love me? And those kind of things. So, in a sense, I used to do, part of my ministry in the past was to share the gospel in various ways to proclaim it, right? And sometimes you do all sorts of things, but really you're doing a cold contact. You don't know if they're interested, but these people have taken initiative to type something in the Google search bar that's related, that triggers the ad. So you might say it's a warm contact, because it started with them. If they're not typing these words in their Google search bar, no ads get activated. So we're just riding on the interest. And I've learned that different cultures have different interests. In the Muslim world, the big draw is, what does the Quran say about the Bible? Actually, one guy who landed on the site had dreams of Jesus like 10 years ago and had come to faith. He's a Somali. And now he's my translator for the Somalis. So I have a Somali website that reaches into Somalia, and he's translated it. And I've never met him in person. He just landed on the site. We started corresponding. I learned that he had dreams of Jesus maybe 10 years ago and had come to faith. And this is one way that he can reach his fellow countrymen, and it's relatively safe, because he's told me he lives in Somalia still. Most Christians have been killed or run off. Right now there's a guy in Malaysia and a guy in Indonesia and a guy in Turkey. These are three Muslim guys that are interacting with me in English. Those three guys speak English, and they have objections, I guess, to the gospel, and so we're corresponding, email, we're Skyping. Um, there's a guy in Burkina Faso that just signed up yesterday, and he'd like to talk. And then there was a guy in France that signed up and said, "Hey, I haven't met any Christian here in France. Do you know any Christians here?" So I got a friend who worked as a missionary in France, so I've got put them in touch. So um, yeah, I mean, there's a fair bit that can happen. That is happening. Hey, thank you so much. It'll be great to partner with you, and we'll see how God uses this thing down the road.